Welcome to another Founder Wisdom podcast. We have Robb Fahrion with us today. He's partner and co-founder at Flying V Group. He's also partner at Fahrion Group Investments. We're going to talk about investments and what it means to be a business owner, CEO. Like Rob, he's in Newport Beach. I'm in Oaxaca, Mexico. It's going to be a fun one. Mostly, we're going to talk about strategic investment today and revenue growth, amongst other things. This pod is presented to you by podplayer.com. If you want to start or scale your podcast, go to podplayer.com. Rob, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Yeah, Charles, thanks so much for having me on. Name's Robb Fahrion, as you mentioned. I serve as founder, co-founder, and partner at Flying V Group, overseeing all day-to-day operations, working pretty closely with priority clientele in terms of marketing, advertising strategy. And then, as you mentioned, I have a strategic investment arm as well, in which we're actually working to help accelerate brands either through investment capital or potentially strategic services, whether that be marketing, operational procedures, finance, and accounting as well. So thanks so much for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. I've seen that you've occupied a bunch of roles in the past. So, what led you to start your own business?
Yeah, good question. Really just the frustration with working for someone else, not the actual piece of working for them, but the fact that I'm not building something of my own, right? And so I'd always wanted to start a business, played around with a lot of different endeavors and projects growing up, and really just wanted to be able to, be able to make my own decisions, whether good or bad. That responsibility was something I think I thrive with, and was always looking at how can I just continue to go the direction that I best see fit, right? Without being hamstrung like I was in a lot of just traditional 9 to 5 jobs. So definitely fits my personality, and a great fit for me. And I don't see myself ever really going the other direction.
Right. Yeah, I would guess so. Why digital marketing agency?
Yeah, so I had some past roles in marketing and advertising, was a director of marketing. That's where I kind of fell in love with the idea of not just the marketing side, but generating business growth, really, right? There's obviously, you can do that through marketing, you can do that through sales, you can do that through becoming more efficient with operational procedure. And so, but marketing, I felt like was the one piece that, really had the most effect on how quickly businesses can scale, and then the variety of different ways you can go about doing it as well. And I think the other piece was both the creative aspect as well as the analytical side of marketing, especially as digital has trended and accelerated. I'm really a numbers guy at the end of the day, so diving into data analysis for media buys and organic search was something that was really a nice fit and complemented the creative side as well. So a nice blend of the two, felt like it was a good fit.
Right. And what are you acquiring nowadays?
Can you say that again, Charles? Sorry, it broke up a little bit.
Yeah, what are you acquiring nowadays?
Yeah, so in terms of acquisition, like yeah, you'll see a lot of different endeavors that we're a part of. So we're actually spinning up even de novo companies of our own. We're looking at some of the more antiquated industries in which we might have some roll up opportunities, particularly like home service space, and then really those industries that also need a lot of that tech enablement, to where okay, they have a strong core foundation, but by adding in the marketing components, right, the processes, the automation, we can accelerate those growths with new businesses that we're looking to either invest in, acquire, or just work with on a partnership basis as well.
So I've seen here you've acquired Keen Vision, Sows, Deep Knowledge Investing, Waste Control. So is there a specific investment thesis or vertical you're in?
Yeah, good question. So just to clarify, not all of those would be like actual acquisitions, but we do have, yes, vested interest in each of those businesses. So I think the big thing for us is really the disruption. So is it a market that, for example, you take saws, right? Their pasta sauce, nothing new or different has changed with pasta sauce over the last however many years. but they're coming at it with a Gen Z angle, fresh new brand take, new and different flavors that are disrupting the category. So that's one piece of it. The other is, who are the people, right? So there's a lot of different brands, but we also look at, all right, who are these people that we'd be investing in? Do we think they have what it takes? Are they organized? Are they responsive? Do they have a strong network around them as well? So obviously you see quite a bit of diversity in terms of the client portfolios, but that's where we're really looking at, hey, is there an opportunity for disruption? And then who are these individuals that are looking to disrupt the particular market? And then obviously, yeah, you've got your financials and other components, market fit, that need to check out. But I'd say those two pieces, disruption and founders, are going to be the key aspects we look at.
And how do you separate your day between the marketing agency and Farian Group, for example? What does your day to day look like?
Yeah, it actually doesn't really change or affect at all, because Flying V Group, as a marketing advertising agency, is really a flywheel, in the sense that all of these investment businesses that we're involved in need our support and services. So obviously, as an investor, strategic partner, we want these companies to grow, and a lot of times that's an identification as well. Is that, hey, with the proper strategy, with the proper bandwidth and resources from a marketing and advertising standpoint, we don't even necessarily need to change a lot about the company. It's just we need to get them in front of the right people more quickly, more effectively, more efficiently.
Interesting. So, who are your clients as part of the Flying V Group, and how do you acquire them mostly?
Yeah, good question too. So we serve wide range of clientele, so pretty agnostic in terms of industry. I will say where we kind of got started was in what we call that professional service space. So a lot of financial advisory firms, legal firms. We do a lot in the healthcare space as well. As we've evolved, though, we've been in business almost 10 years now. We do a lot on the e-commerce side, B2C, both B2B as well, like we did prior. And acquisition of clientele is inbound traffic. So we do a ton of work on net new content creation from a search engine optimization standpoint, and then really word of mouth. So we actually do very little paid advertising for ourselves. And if we are doing paid advertising, a lot of times it is just that retargeting and frequency nature of the traffic that's been driven through organic channels, wherever that may be. We see a higher quality of lead coming from organic channels than we do through paid acquisition, because we're getting very involved. Retainer sizes are larger retainer sizes for our clientele, and so when they're coming to the table through organic, they already know who we are, right? They've kind of vetted us already, and they're really ready to have a meaningful conversation to see if this could be a fit.
Right. So, I'm guessing you're running on a roster of 30 to 50 clients. And what do your packages look like? A couple of Ks. What does that look like?
Yeah, you're right. I think we just did a recent count. We're actually just crossed 60 active retainer clients, and then we have a variety of engagements actually. So we have engagements in which we're strictly providing our time, our expertise, getting an outside look and opinion. We have pay for performance models, to where, okay, well, we want to come in and, maybe a little bit lesser of a retainer based on where they're at from a cash standpoint, but with the upside in that, okay, our performance rewards us there. And then just your traditional retainer model as well, right? So that's going to be a collection of the different services to form the strategy for the client. And then that makes up whatever that retainer might be, based on obviously the volume and the scope of the services that we're providing.
So, what are your top goals this year?
Double the business, actually. Yeah. So we didn't quite double the business last year. We were right in that about 30 to 40% range. But yeah, we're really looking to actually accelerate and activate more advertisement, more social content. We're doing more blogging and content creation than we ever have. Starting to build out structure for internal sales team too. A lot of the sales and biz dev has just been by myself and our business partners, so two other partners in the organization as well. But yeah, we're trending to hit that goal as it stands current point in time. Long way to go, obviously, the rest of the year, but yeah, we're looking to double the business from a top line revenue standpoint.
Have you been using AI for SEO?
We do. Yeah, we've leaned into AI very heavily. So whether that's through analysis of existing websites or even websites where we already have existing SEO engagements to help us get through content, data, and information quickly, and then also analyzing that data as well. To where we have certain tools where we can plug in X, Y, and Z, whatever that may be, and get that insight without relying on the human element. You're always going to have that human fact checking, right? Or review and kind of quality control. And then we're actually working on a proprietary tool from a content creation standpoint too, that I think is more than just going to Chat GPT and saying, write me a blog. We're actually giving the GPT, we're building our own LLM, and we're giving it the structure that we think we need from a optimized blog standpoint, excuse me. We're able to feed it actual research as well to round out. And then we still have a human editorial guideline process that comes after, but a lot of the heavy lifting is done initially by AI components. So still don't know where all of that shakes out. I think we're still very early days, right? But I think it's going to shake out in some capacity, and AI is not going away in any way, shape, or form. So we're leveraging it as best as we can while still keeping as much quality control and quality assurance as possible.
So I've stopped using Google since ChatGPT 4 went out. What will happen to Google's search engine business if everyone does that?
I think with Google, they're still trying to definitely figure out, the search generation experience they're calling it, right? With Chat GPT, and how they can kind of counteract. It's going to be interesting in the sense of obviously, yeah, that's taking off market share from Google, in terms of people like you're saying using Chat GPT. I think the one thing they still have at their advantage is that the sourcing of the information that they're presenting in those SERPs, right? To where if I do use Chat GPT, and I'm not saying that it's not accurate, right? But you're not necessarily getting the sources right, or there's not necessarily other results that are being provided in terms of Chat GPT got this information from here. But that's not to say that it's not a huge threat to their business. And I think they're going to have to find that happy medium between, okay, all of that indexing of content and information that they have, but presenting it in a way that ChatGPT does present it, that also continues to improve as you start to feed more information and it has that interaction with the user. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know. I don't have a real definitive answer, kind of waiting and seeing a little bit and monitoring and obviously engaging with all the different platforms that we can.
What what challenge do you foresee in the next couple of years in your business and your vertical?
I think exactly what you're talking about, right? Is there going to be disruption in terms of people thinking that okay, agency work can be replaced by a lot of automation tools? And so I think that's where we've really leaned into on our team, getting better talent. Because I think at the end of the day, okay, AI, yes, it can allow you to do things faster and more efficiently, but I think there is that need for context, right, in terms of the data and the information. And so I think if you have high level human capital on your team that's able to dissect real world business problems that are happening in real time, that's going to be extremely valuable. And AI is going to have a hard time replicating that, at least this at this point in time, until it probably starts to accelerate. But yeah, it's both something that we can utilize for our benefit, but also something that's a threat. So we have to make sure we're just staying ahead of the game. And I think with the human capital, being able to use those tools, right, is a big piece of it as well. So not saying, hey, AI is the enemy. AI is actually a friend, and we can use that to do our jobs better and more efficiently as well.
You've worked with many clients in providing them top SEO services. What niches are you seeing working very well in this market?
Local services, I think, is the big one. You're getting a huge movement in terms of local service business owners that are on their way out, right? So it's kind of even that transition of wealth from the boomers to millennials and Gen Z. And so a lot of these businesses have been in business for a very long time. They've built up just referral, word of mouth, They don't have strong online presences a lot of times, and a lot of times they're very fragmented as well in terms of the number of local offerings that are available. So I think, yeah, the local SEO game, you're already in a smaller pond with less competition just from a pure volume standpoint. And so these small businesses, small, medium sized businesses that are local based, that's where we're seeing the best success for our services to where we're coming in and we're operating their SEO as if it were an enterprise level client and they're completely dominating their local markets compared to their competitors.
Do you think you can scale that model in which you can have various local businesses and scale them through SEO?
Yeah, definitely. I think one, there's obviously a lot of different local markets, right? To where even within 10, 15 miles, you can have the same client, but operating in completely different cities. And we're very process oriented on our side as well. We believe that there is a best practice and a framework and a structure in terms of how you optimize websites, the type of content you need to produce, how quickly, the velocity, and how you distribute it. And so we've really turned ourselves into a machine that understands, okay, what are the table stakes that we need to drive a successful strategy? How do we ramp that strategy up when we need to? And then also in terms of how we've built our business, very modular to where, okay, if we do have additional resources that are necessary, we can easily load them into our SEO team with kind of the framework and the structure that we've built out with a top to bottom approach in terms of quality assurance, quality control within our own organization as well, leaning heavily too on technology. So I'd say even though we are a smaller business, we operate at a way that even a lot of bigger businesses were more equipped in terms of automation that we're using within our own business to operate more effectively, more efficiently.
Who are you learning from nowadays?
Oh gosh, everyone. Yeah, I think even our own internal team, right? So as you build up a team, we've got 25 team members now, right? You have less involvement in kind of the weeds of the business, which that's where like the actual work is getting done to drive the top level results. So it's actually staying in tune with our PPC specialists, our SEO specialists that are in the day to day of what AI changes mean for SEO, right? What algorithm changes mean, new types of campaigns that are being rolled out on Google Ads or new entrants like a TikTok into the advertising space. So I'd say, yeah, learning more and more from my team, which has been super cool and rewarding, kind of comes full circle, right? In terms of, okay, we initially build business, get opportunity to them, but then they're providing that value right back to us because they're hands on a day-to-day basis when I'm focused on more bigger picture items in terms of running the business and managing the business.
When the going gets hard in entrepreneurship, what mindset hacks do you put forward?
For me, it's looking back at the journey and where I started from. I think every entrepreneur goes through that. I'm sure you know Charles as well, right? It seems like I'm not making any progress, or I'm running into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. But I think when you take a deep breath, you kind of back out a little bit, look at the bigger picture, and think about where you started, which for a lot of us, right, was just an idea and maybe just ourselves to say, hey, let's get going. And now you look at what you've done over the last 8, 9, 10 years, however long it may have been, you will realize how far you've come and all the challenges that you have overcome and obstacles that you've been able to navigate. So that's kind of my mental tick. Hey, when I'm thinking, the world's ending, which we've all been there, and it's been frustrating, taking a step back, take a deep breath, realize, hey, you've already experienced this. You've already beat this in the past. This is just another thing that's getting thrown at you. I think that definitely keeps me moving forward.
You're building a couple of your businesses with family members. Any tips for us when going that direction?
Yeah, I think we have a unique scenario with our family in that we all have different skill sets that don't cross over. So, my brother's finance and accounting. I don't. I obviously need to know the numbers and things like that, but he does his job. I'm marketing and advertising. He would tell you the same thing about me, about him, and not understanding my space as intimately as I do. My dad works with us as well a little bit. He's in the operational space, right? So I think, there's always disagreements and conversations, right? But I think when those do come up, we remember, hey, we're all trying to get to the same place, right? We all have these frustrations because we care and because we want to be successful. So I think keeping that in mind when those things do come up. But I'd say we're also very fortunate in that not a lot of crossover in terms of the day to day. So I could see where if my brother and I were working on the same stuff all the time, where that could cause some even more tension. But yeah, I think again, it's remembering what you're doing. You're working as a team, and that's whether it's family members, our other business partners, right? We all have the same mindset, same intention. And if things aren't getting done the way they should, I think you just need to address them head on, right? Be transparent with it. Don't let it fester. Sit down, have a conversation about what's bothering you or why you think you should be doing things differently. And that a lot of times will alleviate. So I think a lack of communication a lot of times is, regardless of family, friends, whoever it may be, leads to dissension a lot of times.
Love it. Where can people find out more about you, Rob?
Yeah, so website's great, flyingvgroup.com. That's where we post tons of content, new material. For myself personally, very active on LinkedIn. So just by searching my name, Robb Fahrion, as well as on X or Twitter, handle of at Robb Fahrion there, as well as Instagram. So made it very easy, I think, just by searching on Google my name. Just remember two B's, not one, and Rob, and I think you'll be able to find me pretty easily, and would welcome any connections. Please feel free to reach out. Love chatting, and increasing my network size.